it wasn't because his teammates were playing really bad. It was more of they had a lot of limitations because of the strategy he chose. So I felt he was really hard on himself, and I hope it doesn't affect him in the next game. You know, sometimes you get really hard on one game, and the next game you sort of carry it through the next game, and it affects you, or you are thinking, okay, the last game I actually picked like this, and you try to obviously you try to avoid it, but you might like deviate some towards stuff that you are not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because it affected you.
And just given what you told us, as we take a look at draft for game 2, I mean, you were saying, well, I don't know if I would call it a Mushihiro. He likes playing it. Depending on how that communication happened when they picked that Night Stalker, maybe he's like, all right, maybe I am responsible for that. We just need to change things up in game 2. Draft a little bit underway here for game 2 between LGD and Fnatic.
It's the same draft, except opposite sides.
Opposite sides, yeah, you're right.
Which means it favors Fnatic, right?
I guess so.
I think this is definitely better for Fnatic. That's one thing that's for sure.
Than before, yeah.
It's a way better opener for them. They need to bring their A game and their A draft here, because this game is super important for them. If they don't win this, they don't even have a chance at top 4.
No.
This way they can keep their hopes alive should Cloud9 beat Complexity in game 2.
So Fnatic looking, I mean, it's not over yet, right? So they need to focus on that at this point. Every single game still matters going forward.
Have we ever seen a Chinese team play TaS Techies? Is that a no? Or except Vici? Has Vici played that even in the past? No, right?
So.
No.
So it's safe to say that none of the Chinese teams play Techies.
As of yet, yes.
It's a good pick against Undying. He's very prone to walking into mines during the laning stage because he's such an aggressive melee support. And in addition to that, you can destroy the tombstone with landmines, which is really good. So, I mean, it's kind of a cute counter pick. It's not like a direct counter, but if they wanted to, I think they would get it. Because I'm not expecting Fnatic to ban it, and as we saw at ESL 1 earlier this year, or when was that, a month ago?
Yeah,
roughly?
like a month and a half.
About a month ago,
yeah.
Fnatic did not deal well with the techies of Secret in that game.
True,
They got destroyed. And if you're down and you start losing the mind game, you lose the game. That's
the mind game.
Yeah, I was thinking that was...
LGD looks pretty darn relaxed, though. MMI is just chilling back in his chair.
Yeah.
Siler just, having his normal thing. So they look very, very much in tune with this game. In the zone.
As they should be. I mean, again, they're pretty much secured for that first spot, barring any upsets, and of course, Secret going forward, and then IG versus Fnatic lineup, that kind of matters. But I think they should feel pretty comfortable, and from what you guys are saying, I mean, if they're feeling that comfortable, they might try the techies here, especially seeing as how that's been picked quite often already in TI5.
I like the direction they are going right now. CM, like I mentioned before, CM is an indirect buff towards all your lanes, and we've discussed about how Fnatic needs to have a good start, have good lanes, and CM Aura definitely helps the whole team in that regard.
classic LGD.
Yeah, it's gonna be TaS Lina once more for them, more or less, in the off lane.
Are they seriously taking 4 of the 5 heroes that LGD had last game?
Maybe.
LGD didn't have CM, right?
No, there wasn't a CM, right?
What? There was a CM. Xiaowei was CM.
Oh yeah, so it's exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
It is
And
exactly
even the
same so
picking order is the same. The Storm was the 4th pick, and the CM was the 3rd pick. I'm not
That
sure.
is generally not a good sign.
I'm not sure about the Undying and the Gyro. They could have swapped the...
I mean, yeah, but
I mean,
it was the same phase, right? So
Yeah,
it didn't really matter.
So what's the pick missing?
Razor.
no,
was
that
it-
was
no,
Razor.
for
Razor.
Fnatic.
What were
It's
they missing?
Thank you.
yeah, was playing
Sam.
yeah.
Big banned it.
That's pretty great. LG is like,
man.
hold on. We've seen this somewhere before.
That's amazing.
That is pretty great.
I can't believe they just did
That's pretty great. I would. Well,
that
Fnatic
is
doesn't
so
seem
good.
too thrown off by it. Going with
I like the Nature's Prophet a lot, though. It's somewhat of the same tune as Crystal Maiden, that you can buff up all 3 of your lanes by being anywhere at once and taking down towers really quickly, which I think is really good with, in combination with Undying and against the anti-mage. So, yes, it has a lot of components of LGD's draft, but I think Nature's Prophet is even a stronger twist with Fnatic's flavor in it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Prophet it's the same as Darkseer. Prophet is the same as Darkseer. If you're dealing with two heroes, like only one support in the lane, he's usually very strong because you can send the summons towards the support, and it's very annoying. Like most of the supports cannot deal with the Treants hitting at you, and that would give the Prophet a very good time. You can just run up and take last hits and experience whatnot. So, and again, he's going to be able to help the other lane. So that would be really useful when Mushi is trying to gank with the Storm.
And another thing that's really powerful about this is they're able to take towers because they have the choice to tank it. And Undying Prophet together is actually really, really good in the off lane, I think. It's a very strong dual lane. Prophet has a good attack animation, good damage. Undying with him together, you put down the Tombstone, you have the Treants. You can actually dive towers with pretty little risk compared to a lot of other heroes would have. So if LGD will indeed do the 2-1-2 lane, I think their anti-mage is going to get destroyed. This is kind of forcing their hand to maybe playing a defensive tri-lane, simply because, in my mind, Undying Prophet will not even just beat Dazzle anti-mage, they will completely destroy it.
Yep.
Yeah, they're feeling
They're
feeling the pressure as well. I think this is one of the few games where I see them putting maybe on a more space-making hero. They usually put maybe on like a semi-core, like someone can transition into the late game. And this game they've chosen to have more of a 4 protect 1 strat. I have to say, they might be worried because the lanes, they are not expecting the lanes to go too well since Fnatic have much stronger lanes this time around. Undying and Prophet, like Sin mentioned, could be a threat towards the anti-mage early development in the lane, and you might need more heroes to make space later on because anti-mage is not guaranteed a good time.
Okay, so, I mean, overall, sure, joking about, okay, they're kind of copying LG's lineup, but they didn't seem too thrown off either by just picking the Nature's Prophet after the Sand King ban, so it didn't seem like they were really set on taking that whole lineup. Game 2 is starting. We'll find out, can Fnatic secure 1 point to keep that hope alive of fighting for 4th place in Group A, now going up against LGD.
All right, so if you feel like you're living in a world of deja vu, you can wake yourself up from it. This is, in fact, game number 2 of Fnatic versus LGD, where LGD already have the 1-game advantage. And with this, unless Fnatic can just rip a game away from them right now, will guarantee them first place in the group stage after MVP took that game off Team Secret in their first game of the 2-game series. So it's still anyone's ballpark. You still fight for every single inch you can gain at TI. And Fnatic, well, they're fighting for it by taking what LGD used against them.
Yeah, they are. And this is the 100th game of Ohio on Nature's Prophet. Applause to him.
I applaud.
That is a lot of games on one hero. Of course, probably not the most on Nature's Prophet, as there's a guy who has roughly 250 or something, 280. I don't know.
He's a dog of a guy.
He is. Anyway, top rune being heavily contested here by Fnatic, as they're going to secure that. And meanwhile, LGD going bottom, just securing that.
It's always interesting to watch Nature's Prophet who goes for TP to start instead of having like Treants, because it's such a great lane presence early on to have maneuverability as your number 1 task. Like either you're assuming you're going to get enough space in the bot lane that you're able to find your level 2 quickly, or you just think like because what has he done with it? He's TP'd out to put an observer ward down. And then he TP'd back down to the bottom lane to be there for the creep wave.
Yeah, TPing out, and maybe you could do that even just by spending, 100 gold from one of your supports or something. But
Silo?
He's not going to have Treants, and that also means Tusk and Lina. That's a tough lane.
It's a little bit of a howdy-doody between Crystal Maiden as well as Anti-Mage. And KOXY is going to be really happy with this lane, primarily because MMY is only now just arriving, and it's a dual off lane, so Ohio just plays the defense mode and then brings Johnny over. So Xiao Weight's searching for him. He can actually get a double Life Strike array right now if he wants to, but already getting decayed and being chipped away by Ohio, they're going to start forcing him out of the lane. Shards or no shards, this lane's still very, very strong for Fnatic.
It is. Undying is actually a really good hero for protecting this early game here of Furin. Try and give the Nature's Prophet his Treants so he can lane on his own. And a nice D-ward here by Ketchigenba. Gonna free up the pull spawn on top so he can pull the creep wave into the side.
Same time, MMY is trying to do the same over on the Dire side. Unfortunately for him, he can't actually find the ward unless he cuts down a tree. And he's only got 2 tangos to use. So he's got to have a guesstimation of where this thing is so he can get his own pull point.
It's a sneaky ward. I think he can see it if he puts himself in the right spot, because he cuts down a tree there, right there. Now he can see it. So he didn't have to use a tangle, but there was a tangle used to drop that ward. Sneaky ward. Sneaky, sneaky.
Well, the pull finally going to end, but Nature's Prophet loves this. This is one of these lanes where you're actually okay with having the pull happen while it brings the Dark Creep Wave underneath your own tower, because the treants soak it up for you. It's not going to be the tower. You can actually switch the aggro out.
Exactly. He's not going to lose any HP. The only important thing is that Johnny, who's contesting bottom rune but getting stunned up, the only important thing is that he is there to protect the Furin in the beginning here.
Xiaowei should still be a little bit... I know he's got a lot of burst damage up his sleeve, but when you get 2 decays on you, there's not a lot of life to work with. We should also probably have a look towards, well, actually top lane, because that's where MMY is copying a lot of damage. KOXY could have potentially pushed that one. He had flat cannon available and the new creep wave coming in. But
risky.
Yeah, why do it when you already kind of feel like you're getting the upper hand in the lane? The anime just managed to find 9 CS to your...
Oh, the blocks on bottom. Treants are blocking Xiaowei so much.
And he has to walk into the Radiant jungle. That's not where he wants to go. Johnny's sticking with him. He's got decay in 3 seconds' time. And Ohio, he could just TP in front of him if he wants to find it. But now Yao, actually Xiaowei will TP out. And the attack from Ohio, he can't do enough damage in time.
Johnny decayed on Yao instead of Lina. He should have pursued the Lina. It would have gone the first blood. Oh, nice play, though, by Fnatic all over there. And Ohio showing his prowess on the Nature's Prophet. Good blocks there, setting all that up.
I was actually thinking that this CS was so far in favor of Fnatic just in the early stages, but middle lane is even Stevens, 15-5 versus 15-3. And then top lane, with the Gyro versus the Anti-Mage, it's 12-1 versus 14-2. Even the bottom lane, Tuskars managed to find 15 last hits against the 15 of Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, a lot of mirrors today, Toby.
Yeah. Saw it in the virtual reality test of Valve, and now I'm also seeing it right now here in this game.
Amazing stuff, dude. They're bringing it into Dota, apparently.
It is. It'll be magical. Mushy, very lucky to survive. 30 HP, he'll get himself away from maybe. And this is going to be our first real change up in the lane. Even with the TP out from Xiaowei, it didn't really change the balance, the equilibrium of the bottom lane, but it changes mid now with Mushy having to hold back.
Yeah, this is... Maybe he's such a strong mid player. Like, he really is. Even against a player such as Mushi on Storm, manages to do this, pushing him out.
But Mushi's now got his bottle coming as well as the salve. Even riskily, but he knows what he's doing, stacking up the camp. So he's got a little bit more farm to get to.